Charles Barkley can be a very divisive figure. Very aware of that. In some circles of our community, the black community, he's not very popular. I know in the conscious community they hate his ass. Willie D hates him. And I understand why sometimes that's the case. Me personally, I try to look at Charles Barkley through an entertainment lens, right? Um, Charles Barkley played in the NBA from 1984 to 2000. I vividly remember the last 10 years of his career. One of my favorite players growing up. I always rooted for him to get a championship. It just never worked out. Then he went into broadcasting. He was a natural for that, and people like his style. Now, look, when it comes to his political beliefs, some of his social beliefs, I don't agree with a lot of the shit that he is for. But I'm mature enough, I like to think intellectually and emotionally to the point where I can still find things about a person who I disagree with vehemently on a lot of issues and still find things about them that I like. Um, anyway, it's just in my nature to look for things I have in common with people rather than focus on things I have, um, things that we don't agree with to cause, us to not get along with each other. I just think that's a flaw a lot of people have, that they're always constantly looking for something that they don't like about someone so they can just have a reason to dislike it. Stupid shit, man. But anyway, one thing about Charles Barkley that irritates me, y'all, is his inconsistency sometimes when it comes to how he judges certain people and how they perform and all that. How are you gonna put your buddy, like this is your one of your best friends, right? In real life, how are you gonna put Michael Jordan on blast for not getting it done as an owner? But you're always trying to, you know, fucking play fucking offensive, the offensive line for fucking people like Steve Nash and Frank Vogel. And of course, they're not the only problem. There's other things going on with these teams. But you can't sit back and watch Steve Nash the last couple of years. You can't watch the Nets and say that he's a great coach. You can't sit back and watch him in these playoff series and just games in general and see how he's constantly outcoached. A lot of times, the only reason why Brooklyn will win is if KD or Kyrie are having great games and or they're playing inferior competition. And their record shows that. Regular season, they were, 44-38? When you combine the playoffs, 44-42. Um, that's that's about as 500 as you get. So I don't understand this. Like, you throw Michael Jordan on the bus. You didn't have the decency to go to Michael and say, hey, Michael, we're friends. We've been friends for many years. I'm going to say something today on the show that is a little bit critical of you, Mike. I just want you to know. I love you. You're my best friend. I don't want to disagree. I don't want to ever disrespect you. I'm just going to soften the blow a little bit. I want to come to you and show you. I'm going to say something a little bit that's going to be a little bit, first of all, look, we're friends. We've been friends. Hey, give me the goddamn point, man. Goddamn, shit. Got bitches to fuck. Well, I just want to say, as an owner, I think you're doing a good job, but I think maybe sometimes you got the wrong type of people around you. But the fact, hey man, my competitive juice is always flowing, bro. You can't be this to be like that, man. Fuck you, man. You fat bitch, man. What the fuck, man? But then Mike probably would have got over it. At least he came to him like a man and shit. He'd been mad at him for a couple months, but then he would at least say like, yeah, but Charles came to me, though. So at least I'm gonna go ahead and let this shit go. But you know what I'm saying? But with Steve Nash, and look, first of all, Steve Nash one of the nicest people. I don't give a fuck how nice he is. Who gives a fuck if he's nice, if he's not getting the job done? Well, since one part of the resume is, well, you have to be a leader. We want to see, you have a great, uh, quality as far as leadership is concerned. You know the game, X's and O's, your great interpersonal relationships. And most importantly, Steve, you got to be nice. I mean, you got to be a friendly guy. If you're not friendly here, well, we're just not going to hire you. Gives a fuck about that. Not saying you need to be the devil. Not saying you need to be the evil incarnate. Not saying you need to be Richard Nixon. I hate all fucking Jews. I'm not saying, but he gotta be like, okay, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. We all tend to put them on a pedestal. Let's be honest. In a lot of ways, they're fucking assholes, right? They were assholes. Let's be honest. I'm not trying to denigrate Kobe at all, but let's be honest. In real life, in some ways, it has some asshole qualities. But that shit helped them out from a competitive standpoint. They didn't give a fuck about relationships. All they cared about was their game, their craft. They demanded a lot of their teammates. They were kind of tunnel vision type guys, but they ended up being great leaders, and they won. They got the most out of their abilities. They got the most out of people around them. But in the real world, in other areas, they be looked at as assholes. But we worship that shit. And the guys who are nice guys in the competitive world, a lot of times they didn't win. You know what I'm saying? Bird used to say, well, Cut McHale, one of the greatest power forwards of all time. Well, I think he would have got more of his ability. He's a little bit meaner. Too nice a guy sometimes. Kevin's all right, but sometimes I think he's a little bit too nice. I mean, but when you're coaching, Steve Nash, man, he's a nice guy. Out of here, man. Give a fuck. He's not a good coach. Arguably the worst coach in the league. The Bulls got a game. So anyway, that's all I got to say about him in this situation, man. I think Steve Nash is on his way out. Okay. He's trying to save his job, talking about other shit, but at the end of the day, Steve Nash, his tenure has been a failure. You got a 1 year when you didn't make the playoffs, another year when you get knocked out in the second round after taking a 2-0 lead, and then you blame it on injuries then, but this time you get knocked out in the first round by a sweep. I mean, that broom came out, it was big and dusty, and that bitch had lint balls in the bottom of that motherfucker, and you got swept up out of the fucking you got swept out of Barclays, man. Get out of here, man. Get this dude out of here.